Oh, I found it.
Hello, my name is Sydney Badinsky and this is my weekly blog. As you may have noticed, I changed the scenery up a bit this week. I thought to myself, why not use the BTV set? Get a little bit of that Beale personality in this. So in short, we are wrapping things up. The semester is almost to an end, and right now it is what we like to call crunch time. That means students are wrapping up any assignments that they have, they're finishing their final cumulative assignments, and they're making sure that they can do absolutely everything they can to either improve their mark and their work. My expectations for next semester are a little mixed, as I'm not quite sure where I'm going to be. Depending on how things play out in the next few weeks, I'm either going to be continuing my practicum for the first few weeks of the next semester at Beale, or if I get an LTO position, I'll hopefully be in the classroom for all of next semester. If that is the case, the LTO position that I am looking at is also in broadcasting, which would be a nice continuation from where I already am right now at Beale. What I have been doing is reviewing the work that we have been doing this semester and seeing how I can improve upon it. My AT and I have gone into great discussions to see how this is possible and to see what we can actually change that will make a difference in how the course is delivered. Something that we definitely thought that could be improved were a couple key things. We might be switching from tripod use to only handheld, as we have lost a number of the pieces that connect the camera to the tripod. You might think that's not a big issue until you're missing 10 of them, and they cost about 25 bucks a pop. It's quite a lot to take out of your budget for something that could be avoided entirely. Other than that, we do have some students that aren't naming their files correctly. Before, it was just put into the document and expected that they would name the file accordingly. Usually you get about 1 or 2 people that don't follow it, but this semester it has been so dramatic in how many students we're getting final submissions that are called final 5 versus what the project name is and their last name. We might have to start making that a marked category to ensure that the kids are meeting these expectations and submitting professional quality work, as this is something you would never actually give to a client in the real world. Things that had worked this past semester, I would definitely say that the spoons were a hit. A lot of my students are really utilizing it and they're really embracing the use of the spoon. It's giving them a way to deal with stress without necessarily putting stress in the classroom. It gives them a chance to regulate themselves or to take a break, and just in general giving them those really well adaptive life skills that are going to help them later on when they are faced with difficult challenges and recognize that they need to take a break for themselves. Adapting really worked well for me this semester, finding that there weren't projects that weren't going to work for every single student and then adapting it so. Not only that, I got over the perceived notion I had in my head of thinking, oh, if I give a student another assignment, I don't want the rest of my class to miss out on these skills, which in reality, these skills are something that they may learn down the line, but I want my students that are succeeding and doing really well to be able to take things to a higher level of understanding and demonstrate it for the class and for themselves. I definitely will be including my class being involved with deciding what their projects are going to be and in what order, in terms of if we have 2 commercials and a PSA, for example, they want to decide what the topics are, that's fine by me, rather than defining them into smaller subcategories and that they might necessarily not be excited to do. Something I'll definitely be implementing again is review. Re-reviewing multiple aspects of a project is a helpful tool in multiple different aspects, as it really just hones in the key ideas and skills that we're trying to have these students understand and utilize in the classroom and outside of it. Doing demonstrations is also another valuable tool that I have found to be extremely successful with my students. Showing somebody how to do something is a great way to involve them and be a part of that process and really understand. Having them be a part of the demonstration even further amplifies this, for sure. I'm really happy that I decided to do demonstrations, and I'm even happier how well it went over with my students. One of the things that I felt really boded well this semester as well was making meaningful connections with my students. I went from being somebody that was in their classroom to being a part of their classroom. I even had a student that isn't in any of my classes, but I have just talked to through the hall. They're in some of the classes around me, and I've gotten to know them as they're friends with a student that is in one of my classes. They asked me today what classes I'll be teaching at Beale next semester because they wanted to actually enroll in them. It both made me so happy to hear and sad to hear because I'm not going to be here next semester at Beale. So it was a bit of a double-edged sword where it really warmed my heart to know that they wanted to be in my class, but it also saddened me to inform them that I wouldn't be here for that opportunity. Some things that did not work for me this semester was trying to get every single student to do the same thing in their class as their peers. That goes in with adaptability. When I tried to kind of, not force, but make sure everybody was doing the same thing, I quickly realized that it wasn't working for every single student and I needed to adapt and change things so it better suited that student and what they needed to obtain out of the class. Another thing that I found didn't work was assuming that previous students had skills that they had obtained from other classes. Although they may have learned it, they may have not perfected or even remembered those skills. So starting with that re-review really helps in ensuring that they don't feel any kind of shame for not knowing something. I tell my students all the time, this is a classroom, we are here to learn. There's nothing wrong with not knowing a skill, and there's everything that's so empowering with relearning it and really getting a wonderful grasp on the concept. I have no issue ever reiterating these ideas and making sure that the students get what they need out of the class. In terms of new teaching assignments, it really all depends what's happening in these next few weeks. My practicum is a little iffier at this moment as I don't know if I'm going to be continuing and finishing my practicum hours here at Beale or if I'm potentially going to be at another LTO position. I'm hoping I do get this LTO position because again, it is in broadcasting, which is one of my teachables, and it's also a continuation of what I'm already doing here at Beale. Otherwise, I am going to be starting the next semester with Mr. Liston, and hopefully, if that is the case, I will be more at the forefront at the beginning, but it will be sad because I'm not going to be there for the whole semester. I'm only going to be there for a few weeks until my practicum is finished. So really, it's up in the air as of this moment, but I'm hoping in the next few blogs, I'm able to give everybody some great news that I got an LTO position. In terms of other classes, we did start our next semester at UWin, and we have Anoop and Darren. Perhaps back to back, one could even say. This is definitely going to be a challenge as they are both asking for quite a lot from their courses. I am happy to see that they have adjusted their expectations a little bit as they understand we are ongoing in our practicum right now, and we do have other things that are calling for our attention in time. I am thankful in the sense that I don't have any children like a lot of my classmates do, and that at this moment all I have to take care of is really myself and my dog. My partner can take care of himself just fine. Obviously, I'll help him when he needs it, but overall, he has been a lot of help for me actually during this whole process, which I'm extremely grateful for. Other than that, the only news I really have to report on is my SLP. My SLP organization has not been getting back to me or communicating at all since October. It has been increasingly frustrating, but I understand things can get busy. I've now come to a crossroads where perhaps I have to move on and contact another organization to see if they're able to work with me and so I can complete my SLP in a timely manner. I don't like being rushed for things. I like to be able to plan things ahead of time and go with an according schedule. I understand that things can change, and this is why I started looking into my SLP and creating it in September, because I knew it was coming up and due in April. Other than that, I hope everybody had a wonderful new year. I hope everybody had time to enjoy the holidays with their family and friends. And overall, I hope we all have a wonderful 2024. It's hard to believe that I am going to be graduating the University of Windsor this year. Fingers crossed for the best, and have a great week, everybody.